Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Breaking Butterfly podcast. I am so grateful to have you guys here. Today, I am joined by a really good friend and a mentor and internet bestie, soulmate, coach, friend of mine, Captolia. I'm so excited. She actually was on the podcast. Oh my God, when was that? I was actually scrolling up through our messages today because I was trying to find a picture of you and I knew you had sent me some before that were like this purple vibe. And it was going up to like 2022, 2021, 2020. I was like,
Wow.
wait, have I actually known you for 4 years? But I think you were on the podcast almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think so. Like so much has changed since then, and it's wild to just like live life alongside different people on the internet. And it's been, yeah, just really special being connected and growing alongside each other this throughout this era. Yeah,
Yeah.
must have connected like early pandemic or something. I have no clue. I have no clue how.
Yeah. That's just like so crazy. And like I completely agree. I feel like we're just like growing like with each other and because we're so similar and have so many similar kind of like just philosophies and the way that we view things and talk about things and authenticity and everything, like I don't know, yeah, it's just like having that's why I said like soulmate
Yeah.
coach bestie is like I just feel like we're I don't know, it's so cute, just like
Yeah,
vibing
I feel like
together.
we both like worked with each other in different capacities. Like hopped into your things, you've hopped into my things, and it's really cool because there has never been like a competitive edge. It's literally just like you're so in your lane, I'm so in my lane, and it's just amazing to get to collaborate and be in community and like just genuinely, encourage each other's mutual flourishing. And I've had people, come into my world from yours and I think mine into yours, and it's just really cool. I think, there's just enough to go around, and I feel like we're such a good example of that. But there's so much
100%.
similarity for sure.
Oh my God, 100%. I love that you say that because, yes, like I've had so many people, so many of my people tell me, like, oh my God, I'm joining Captolia's thing. And I'm like, yes. Like, there's never been a bone in my body that's like, what? Like, oh, you're going over there. No, I'm like, oh my God, yes. Like, thank you. Please go learn from her. Please, like, go receive the things from her. And then I've also had people come from you too and be like, oh, I found you through Captolia. And I'm like, I love that. So,
Yeah, it's so cool. I had someone who just heard me on your podcast. Like, she was like, I listened to you on the Maddie Maple podcast. I loved it so much. And she just immediately like jumped into a mastermind, you know, $5,000 offer just off the jump, just from like the vibes. Just like I felt it, I knew it. I love Maddie. I love you. I'm fucking in, and I was just like, yes, yes, I love it. I feel like that is that power of like authenticity, that magnetism of like it's either a full body yes or it's a fuck no. And I've noticed you too. Like you're such a polarizing presence. I feel like you have a really activating essence. Like people are either really into you or I don't know. I feel like there's not a lot of people who could possibly be in between.
yeah. Yeah. And I was just talking about this on this masterclass that I did called Obsessed. And I'm like, holding obsessed energy is exactly that, where either you can have thousands of people kind of like you, or you can have people who are fucking obsessed with you. But with that comes people who it's like the duality, right? It's kind of like this like heartbeat visual, right? And you can like stay really close to like the middle line and just have some people like you and some people kind of not like you, or you can have people fucking love you and some people who don't fucking love you. And you kind of have to like choose like, do I want to play it safe and have thousands of people just like kind of like me? But the thing is, people don't buy from people that they kind of like. They buy from people who they're like fucking obsessed with. So you have to be willing to have the duality for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I feel like that's literally the worst thing. Like for people to be lukewarm about you. Like I don't. I'm like I feel like my relationship to being polarizing has just really strengthened over the last years. Of like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't want people to be lukewarm about me. I want them to feel things about me regardless of which side of the scale it's on. I mean, hopefully I want it to be more in the love,
Yeah.
but it's fine if there's a few
Yeah.
haters.
I would say, like, the people that really don't like you, it's usually like a trigger, effect, right? That's usually why. Like, how could you possibly hate someone that's, like, doing them and, like, showing up in their power and so happy and helping other people be happy and helping other people grow? Like, someone that doesn't like you can't possibly not like you without it being just something, like, triggering them. So that's how I always look at it. I'm like, that's okay if I'm triggering you and you need, like, I've had people tell me, like, oh, I just honestly needed a break from following you because it was like too much for me. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's totally fine. And they still love me, but they're
Yeah.
just like, I just
Yeah.
needed a break. I'm like, oh, I totally understand. I've done that with coaches that, like, honestly, my favorite coach in the whole entire world that I absolutely love so much. I actually asked for a refund in one of her programs once because she said something that was so triggering to me. And I was like, I don't know. I went through like this whole process. And so I never let anyone like not liking me or wanting a refund or something bother me. Like, it's not like they don't like me. I did that to my favorite coach
Totally.
ever. But
Yeah, it's so not personal.
yeah,
And honestly, I think a lot of it too, like, I mean, my brain is always thinking archetypes, but genuinely, sometimes when you have like a really bold presence online, I tend to be able to see like it's archetypal, like you hold an archetype, and it's really like a person processing their relationship and feelings about that archetype through you. You know, like
yeah,
when I have people have problems with me or they don't like me or whatever, when I'm really like looking at it or the things people have said, I'm like, oh, like you just have like a wild like ruler archetype shadow. Like you have a problem with your own like inner leader, your own inner ruler, and it
yeah,
becomes so much less personal. You're like, oh, you just have like a lover shadow, you know, you are, it's shadow work. It really is. So I feel like having that big polarizing presence gives people an opportunity to just like really analyze themselves. Like, what is it about this person that's bringing something up in me? And there's so much good information there. I've definitely had people be like, oh, you know, I was really triggered by the way that you used to show up or the way that you do show up, but I'm glad I stuck around because it taught me so much. Like I needed to be more of what was activating in you.
yeah.
So it's medicine. I
Mhm.
love it.
Yeah, I love it so much. Um, oh my god, so fun. I don't know, I feel like you always say this. I can't remember exactly what the words are, but I don't know, just being, like, famous isn't about the number of followers or whatever. It's just, like, this energy, and I love just being, like, my own little famous internet pop star. I don't know, in,
Yes.
like, my little community. It's so fun. Um, but yeah, okay, we just went on, obviously, an amazing conversation, like, mini tangent intro. Welcome to the podcast. But for the people that don't know you, can you just tell a little bit more about what it is you actually do?
Sure. So, hey y'all, I'm Captolia. I am a brand strategist. I am an archetype activator, a visibility coach. Basically, my work is to help people really step into their most authentic magnetism and take up radical space online and just become like so magnetically authentically yourself that you become this like yeah, client magnet, really. And on the outside, I'm like, yes, on the outside, it's brand strategy. On the inside, it's really like soul alchemy, like having someone to give you that permission slip to, yeah, you get to dream a little bigger. You get to be your biggest, boldest self, and you get to do it in a way that is yours and not anybody else's. Like, you don't have to stick to the rigid, you know, templates of how a coach or, you know, a spiritual provider or whatever it is supposed to look like, how you're supposed to talk, how you're supposed to show up and present. So I'm really here to help my clients like kind of like burn all the rule books, figure out their unique way of showing up and to do it really big. I tend to work with a lot of like biz witches. So they might come to me, as a baby biz witch, tarot reader, astrologer, healer, psychic. And they're like, yeah, I know I want to be big. I know I want to be recognized. I know I want people to know my name. Maybe they're even like looking around like, why? I know I'm just as good as all these other people who are getting a lot of recognition. They're getting a lot of opportunities. They're getting a lot of clients. They're really growing. And you're like, I want to fucking step into that. So I really help people quantum leap into their most radically authentic, most iconic self on the internet. And it's been so fun. As just like an old internet girl, I never dreamt that I would like fuse my witchy life with an online business. It's just so cool. Like I feel like our brands are our play places, and that's another essence I really try to embody through my work is like this is your space. So I really loved how you mentioned, it's like your little like pop star. Like that really is it. I feel like so many people come to me with all this conditioning that they've picked up through maybe the coaching industry, maybe people in their lives being like, oh, you're not allowed to show up like this, or you're not allowed to be there, so do this. And I'm like, no, no one else gets to tell you your way is the way. And in shedding all of that shame or like shedding all of the conditioning, that's where like that really magnetic essence lives in your heart. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like you're like speaking out of my own mind. I'm just like,
Totally, totally. And that's what I
yeah.
love about your brand, genuinely. Like I can just see like how everything you do is your photo shoots, your colors, your clothes, your aesthetic, like everything, your voice. It's yours. It's such a unique signature that I know I'm sure people have tried to replicate and it's just unreplicable. Like, and
Yeah.
that is the thing too. I love working with people and helping them develop that like signature expression, like almost like it's a post from a particular person before you even like see what it is. It's just that energy signature that yeah, it's like the magnetic frequency. It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. It's that
Yeah.
unique, authentic energy frequency that kind of does the work for you of like calling in your clients, and then you don't have to like work so hard because your brand, your energy, your frequency is like working overtime for you. It's your best employee.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I feel like I honestly didn't notice that that was what grew my brand so fast at the very beginning because my business just kind of like blew up. And I was working with a coach that was very strategy focused. And so for a long time, I thought, like, oh, it's because I'm using like this strategy and this and this. And then I like started really reflecting and being like, no, from the get go, my audience. And it's cool to see how you've also evolved. Like Captolia is always posting fun things from the past, like her old MySpace or old posts or old whatever. Or you just made a post that was like my history in creating community or like my actual experience in creating communities. And it's like you've been doing this since you were fucking in your teenage years, you know?
Yeah,
And
literally
like
12.
literally since you were 12. And I've always been so similar. Like I have videos of me that you would not believe called the Maddie Maple Show. And I was like 11 years old and it was a whole production, like green screens and everything. It was insane. And whatever. And then I found raving and festivals and I was always just doing it in my own way. I was like building a following through just like showing my ass on the internet and talking about like I was still like starting to talk about like confidence and authenticity and into all those things, but I was just like ass out at Burning Man. Like that is the brand. And yeah, it's funny to look back and be like, oh, yes, there's obviously very strategic things that have really helped me. And I believe in strategy so much. And also, like, I was always building an obsessed audience from the beginning because I was just doing whatever the fuck I wanted. And that
Totally.
was the piece. And then also, kind of segueing this into the conversation we wanted to talk about today, I always relate this to dating as well because if you're trying to be anyone other than yourself, you are repelling romantic interests like a madman. And I say this in the humblest way possible. I always was attracting like men from a very young age. Like all the girls would go on the playground and be like, "Who do you have a crush on? Who do you like?" And I was not the cutest in my class. Like I was actually really cringe. Sometimes I have like resentment towards my mom. I'm like, "Mom, why did you not help me?" Like I was not looking cute. And all the other girls, like I feel like their moms like did their hair and like bought them name brands. And I was just wearing like the craziest shit, but the boys still liked me. And I again, like I would always question like why? Like this girl is so much prettier than me. This girl has more expensive clothes. And it was because I was different. It's because I was weird. It's because I was just so authentically myself. And not only do your clients love that, but like love interests and friendships and just people in general outside of business also are attracted to that because it doesn't just make you a client magnet, it makes you just a magnet for everything that is right for you, right? It doesn't when you're authentic, the more you that you are, the more you attract what's meant for you, what's naturally meant for you, right? That's when you get into obviously I'm very into like go get it energy. I'm very Aries and very fire. And at the same time, the more you step back and just be like, okay, this is me, the more everything is just gonna it's just gonna like happen for you. And so
Yes.
did you have that same experience? I feel like people probably were always just like magnetized to you because they're like, you're just, I don't know, different.
It's so interesting. Like, I moved around so much growing up. Like, I went to 19 different schools from kindergarten to 12th grade.
What?
My life was just very chaotic, but I remember like moving to the last school I went to, the high school I went to, and I was the new girl again. And I was just super goth. Like I moved from a city to a tiny little town, and I was super goth. Like very like punk, like fucking, decked out in Hot Topic. I had like black hair with like the chunky highlights, like the black, blonde, red. Like
Oh my
I wanted to
God.
like be Christina Aguilera vibe. So I
Yeah.
moved to this new town, and it was really wild to see like this magnetism. My best friend now, she lives across the street from me. Literally our apartments are like she can see my house.
Yeah.
And she told me, she was like, I never forget like the first time I saw you. Like I just knew that person was going to be my best friend. And you were just so cool. I didn't know how I could like get an in. And anyway, I don't know exactly how we ended up actually connecting, but I feel like I was a little bit weird in high school. And there was this like strange magnetism. Like I showed up at this school, went to the first school dance, and I was like dirty dancing and grinding because that was very normal in the city school. And so in this small town, it was like the talk of the fucking school was like Captolia and Tommy were grinding at the dance, and it was this huge,
That is
drama.
iconic.
It was this huge thing. Tommy ended up being my high school sweetheart, and it just came from like letting. I was like, I don't know, I'm a bad girl. What do you want? I'm Christina Aguilera energy, and I had like a complicated, relationship with boys, but I think I would agree. I was myself, and I was also really open to like meeting people and like being with people that weren't exactly like me. Like I was super goth. Tommy was like, he was the fucking like, basketball, soccer, sports star, all American boy kind of thing with like a good family. And I was more of like a bad girl. Um, and I think something interesting though around like this authenticity piece in dating, I think through high school and through college and beyond, like I almost wanted to jump into someone else's life more than I wanted to create my own. I really like sought out, these edgy. So after the All American Boy in high school, when I got into college and beyond that, I really was attracted to like very edgy people, kind of like that polarizing, like maybe a little bit of like a dark, like rock star energy, maybe a little toxic. But this just like intensity and this passion. And it took a long time and a lot of therapy till my therapist said to me one day, she was like, Captolia, like you are describing like yourself when you're telling me like what you're looking for. You're kind of like just projecting all of the magic that is you, this like passionate, dark, like tattooed, scorpionic artist,
Yeah.
creative onto other people. What if you just really owned that in you, and you don't have to have a partner that's exactly you. So once I started to figure that out, I was like, oh my God, I'm literally just looking for like my inner magic, projecting it onto like some guy.
Mm.
I started to date a little differently because I was more open to dating people that weren't like me, or the,
Oh, that's so
this expression of
interesting.
me.
I Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Do you feel like when you're talking about like talking to your therapist about it, do you feel like the reason you were looking for that person is because you weren't owning it in yourself? So you were trying to like, I don't know, why would you do that?
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't seeing it maybe, or I wasn't like seeing myself totally clearly. And I
Yeah.
really, when I was younger, wanted to be like swept away in a way. Like I moved, across the country, moved to New Mexico, and like jumped into this relationship with someone who was just, I mean, honestly, a nightmare. But I liked that, he had a life. He was like in a band that was getting famous. He had this whole community. And I just wanted to like jump into his thing instead of
Yeah.
creating my own, you know, vibe. And as a
So it was
projector,
like,
I've learned like, I need to be the vibe. Like I need to be the vibe. And other people can kind of come along into my world rather than me
yeah.
trying to fit into someone else's. I don't know. Do you have that experience too?
Yeah. So it's like it was showing you your own desires pretty much. Yeah.
Totally. Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
my very first boyfriend, it definitely was like, and this is something I want to talk about is like, what would we say to women in the same scenario that I was? Because I was completely just in his life. Like, I had no friends, no style, none of my own interests, like nothing. Like, he was my whole life. All of his friends were my friends, which was sad because they weren't even like that good of my friends. I just like knew them through him. I would literally get off work and just sit and wait. I wouldn't
Right.
like when we broke up, I literally was like, I don't even know what shows I like to watch or music I like to listen to. It was all his. And that was like before we broke up. And then I kind of went through like a journey, like 6 to 8 months of just like, what the fuck? I don't even know what to do. And then I found festivals, and that's when kind of,
Yeah.
my journey started of like actually finding who I was. But I don't know. What
Yeah.
would you say to the people who literally like don't know who they are because yeah, they're just like looking for it in other people?
Yeah. I feel like you will never find what you're looking for in someone else's world and identity. Like, I think that you will keep finding yourself lost. I really kept finding myself in relationships where I was totally consumed by somebody, or totally enmeshed with them and very codependent, and just like, even if it wasn't a good relationship, and I would be just like lost in a relationship with someone who maybe wasn't even a fit for me, and I was still trying to fit myself. Like, the music, yeah, I'd be like, here's my identity now. Like, I'm wearing the same fucking type of clothes, or um it's just so wild because I didn't know it was happening until I could take a step outside and really
Yeah.
see, like, oh wow, I'm like trying to find myself in other people. Um, it's just not going to happen like that. So, for me, I had to go through this awful abusive relationship that totally like broke me apart. Like, I feel like through this relationship, I got so far away from myself. I mean, there was like no more of me left. He kind of like snuffed all of me out of me. And so from that space, I went on this journey through my Saturn return, and I spent 3 years single, where I kind of had to like, it reminds me of like a literal bad trip. like where you have to like
Mm.
crawl, minute by minute back to yourself. And then you're like, whew, like I'm home, I'm me again. And I feel like just giving yourself space to not date, not be in relationship. We're going to date whatever, date casually, but
Yeah.
have higher standards. Like, don't just give in, to the first person who gives you attention that you're like, this could work. This could work isn't really what we want here. We want you to be so fully yourself, like so magnetically yourself and confident in who you are that a person, is magnetized towards you, and you can kind of I'm almost like seeing just like two little like bubbles of light or something, and you're kind of just like floating around alongside each other rather than getting totally enmeshed and like mixed up and lost in each other.
Yeah.
Is that making sense? Like, I feel so much that time spent alone to figure out your thing is going to inevitably bring you such a better partnership
Yeah.
than like just flowing into whatever person is like, sure,
Yeah.
I'll entertain you.
I mean, even with that too, like, so when me and Henry first got together, we were very much like authentically ourselves and these separate people. And it wasn't like a, it's just here type of thing. Um, that being said, we moved in together. We lived in an apartment with three other people. So there was five of us in this apartment. We didn't have any space. I'm about to post a picture today or tomorrow of like my old office. It was this office in quotes if you're not watching. Um, literally just like a small $50 desk off Amazon in the corner of our living room with a huge pit bull living in the living room. And like it was, we had no space, is where I'm getting at, like literally no space at all. And, you know, that wasn't like the whole reason that we ended up having a break or like fully breaking up, but I do think that was a huge piece of it was we, even though we were our separate selves, we were doing everything together. Obviously, we went through the pandemic. We were with each other morning until night, and I would try to do my own thing. I actually remember wanting to start a business. I didn't know that I wanted to do coaching yet. I was like, I want to start a business. And so I was doing this jewelry business, and which now looking back, I'm like, jewelry, really, babe? Like, I've never done an arts and craft in my life. And I'm trying to do this thing. And I remember going to drive to the store, breaking down in tears and being like, I don't want to be alone right now, and driving back home. Like, I was trying to go do my own thing and I just couldn't. Yeah, we became enmeshed, even though it was really positive at the beginning. Anyway, so we broke up, and now it's like sometimes I don't see him for days because he goes to LA and he has friends that I've never even met. I have friends he's never even met. I have a whole life outside of our relationship that he doesn't really have any part in. And some people might think that's weird, but honestly, I feel like it's been the healthiest thing ever because we've never been more of ourselves, building our own dreams and our own lives exactly in that visual of like these two lights where we're like separate, but we're together. And sometimes we come closer and sometimes we're a little farther and supporting from afar. And it's like, it's so fun. Um, and I'm curious if your relationship is like that because, guys, so whether you know it or not, Captolia has a boyfriend. I know, shocking. And I was like, Captolia, you never talk about him. I never see anything about him ever. And like, I don't know. I'm sure me and literally every single one of your 16,000 followers is like dying to hear more about, I don't know, your relationship. So I'm curious to hear how yours is and how you guys met and yeah, how you guys met and what your relationship is like.
Okay, great question. So, I mean, we met on Tinder. I never thought that Tinder would work for me because I previously had only met like randos, hookups, and never actually like flourished into a relationship. But with Peter, we met on Tinder, and it was funny because we had like been chatting and matching like multiple times over the course of months and like, you know, I would delete the app. He would delete the app. We would just like, fall off, but we kept matching multiple times. And then we matched again. And I was just like, oh my God, we started talking and we were like texting and talking for like 3 weeks before we actually met. And I already knew just from texting him, like, I was telling my friends, like, I think this person is like my boyfriend. Like I literally was being so crazy. We started talking and texting, and then I went on a vacation in Miami, and I felt like I was on my fucking bachelorette party. Like I was just like, I know that this is like the fucking last hurrah for me because I'm about to be wifed up with this person when I get back. We hadn't even met. Like we literally had only seen pictures and been texting. I just had a feeling. I just knew it. And
Oh
he
my
knew
god.
too. He literally was like, I literally already loved you before I even met you. And then we met, like, it was really cute. He was hoping I wasn't tall. He was just like, I don't know, you were giving tall girl energy from how you talk. And then you showed up and you were really short, and I just felt like that was so cute.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah,
so
and we just
cute.
like had so much fun on our first date and like went, had a scorpion bowl. We're just like, we went back to my apartment, like listened to like dubstep, like old dubstep from college. And it was just so silly. We were having so much fun. He was so hilarious. Like, I kind of just, it was just so easy from that place.
Yeah.
Where in the past, it was like, there was like people would fall off in texting or the communication just wasn't totally there. He was so active. Like, I was even trying to like play it cool because I'm super, I don't know, I can be really avoidant at times where I'm like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
I was like, if this doesn't work out, I would be so happy to be your friend. Like, we could just be friends if this doesn't work out. And he
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to be your friend. So, no. And I was like, okay. I don't really either, I was like, I actually don't want to be your friend either. I actually love
Yeah.
you. But I was trying to play it cool, and he just didn't let that happen and just, like held the vibe. And it took us a while to like say, I love you. I think it was like fucking 5 months in, even though we definitely felt it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, and our relationship is really good. I think one of the things too, where we were like, oh my God, this is too good, and this person was just like dropped out of space to be my boyfriend. Our birthdays are only like 48 hours apart. Like he's November 5th, I'm the 7th of the same year. And we were like, okay, cool. Now we can take birthday vacays every
Oh,
year.
interesting. Oh yeah, because you said he's also Scorpio.
Yeah, he's so Scorpio though. His whole chart is insane. It's like just Scorpio and Capricorn, like everything besides like one placement. Where I'm more like, I have an Aquarius moon. So I think that aqua moon really shows up in like my unconventional like lifestyle. And I have a Sagittarius rising. So I'm more like, yeah, I'm a little like more distant. Like I like to travel. I like to just like up and leave and start a fucking whole new life. And he's more like safe and
Yeah.
stable and like very safety oriented of like what is the like reasonable action here? Like what he wants to be
Totally.
like very grounded on earth, and I'm more like I can do anything. When we're talking about like our dreams, I was like, yeah, I think I want to move to LA or I want to move to Miami or whatever, and he was like, how are we gonna afford like a place or and I was like, don't worry about it, like I'm a witch, you literally just have to like cast the vision and like something will appear. And
Yeah.
it's been so cool to see like his view of what's possible in the world really expand through us being together. I feel like us dating is so healing for both of us. He has really healed my connection wounds, my attachment wounds. He's such a safe place for me to land. And I had never dated someone for longer than like a year and a half. Now we're like moving into 4 years. So he's just like so safe for me. And it's been so healing. And I've grown so much. And I think on his end, he's really like opening up to new things. He like quit the job that he was at for 9 years, like a toxic ass job. He quit it.
Wow.
He's like fucking bleaching his hair blonde, like really self-expressing, like, doing tarot. Like he's so intuitive and psychic. And just naturally like gifted at magic. So it's really cool to see how we're both, helping each other grow. And that this is the first time I've ever had that in a relationship ever. I genuinely feel like this is actually my first real relationship. I don't
Mhm.
know what I was doing with other people before. Like maybe just we were tolerating each other,
Yeah.
but we're actually like in partnership, like with a vision of, a shared life that is so sweet. And
Yeah.
yeah, and he's just like so hot and cute. And I also think in my younger days, I like didn't want to date people who were attractive. Like I just had this thing. It was almost like my own insecurity. I didn't see myself as beautiful, or I didn't see myself as like a hot, gorgeous person. So I would, I don't know. I was like, I really like just like, I just wasn't open to like dating someone like
Yeah.
beautiful. Does that make sense?
No, it 100% makes sense because they have such like a stereotype to them also. It's not even just like feeling like you don't match that. It's I don't know, even for me on Love Island, I'm like, please stop going for the hottest guy because like you just
Right.
know he's the worst. But there are men obviously that are like so cute, so attractive. And yeah, Peter's so cute that
Yeah.
are
I
like
feel like
also
my friends are like,
amazing.
yeah, I feel like my friends are like, finally, dude, like finally, like someone that is at your level and on the same vibe as you, and really suits you.
Yeah.
And I
Well, that
think,
was you answered my biggest question because I was going to be like, obviously because you're so um unique and like niche in a way of like being just very witchy. Like I was like, how does he react to that? Is he into the astrology? Is he into the tarot? And obviously you kind of answered that, but to have someone so on your same level in that way, I think is like just so unique and so crazy. I'm still trying to get Henry on the train. I still can't get his birth time. I've been trying to get
oh
his
my
birth
God,
time for like years and I don't have it yet, but
it's so funny.
he warms
Yeah,
up to it.
yeah, yeah. And I think, one last thing about like, just like, yeah, being a powerful person. Anyone listening, I'm sure, is on their journey into their power or is really in their seat of power. And I've noticed over and over again, like this pattern of these really big people, like these women or femmes or whatever, that are just like larger than life. And you just carry this magic and this light and this authenticity, this spirit. And I think, just like we were saying earlier, like, being a magnetic person, you're not always magnetizing the right thing. So I've just seen over and over how these big, 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 bright light women are these men will be like attracted to them, like a moth to a flame. Like, oh my God, I see this power in you. I see how powerful you are. You embody this goddess energy, this life-giving energy. And not everyone like wants to like stoke the flame of your bigness. I think that big people can really attract like vampiric types of men who really, they're like, oh, I'm attracted to it, but then they start to resent it and then want to like kill it or like snuff it out of you. And I'm just, yeah, so grateful to be with someone who actually wants me to be my biggest self and isn't intimidated by it.
Yeah, 100%. That is the best feeling in the world to have someone that actually wants to see you win. Not just like I feel like people sometimes people love people, but it's more like an owning type of love. Like,
Yes,
I love
yes.
you to be mine rather than like I genuinely love you and want the absolute best for you. And it's very easily disguised as that type of love, but really it's like I want to own you and I don't want you to be any better than me to the point where I don't like own you anymore, which sounds so creepy, but it kind of is like that. Yeah, like that vampire energy. It's very like, oh, I love you, but I just love like having you, which is
Yeah.
Not so
Yeah,
bad.
or like I want to like feed off of you. Like
Yeah.
I've just seen so much the like that big spirit. Yeah, you're like life giving, you're light giving, and people are like, oh, I'm attracted to that light, and then they're like, wait, you're actually really big. It's like a challenge for me. It's a problem for me, or I'm gonna take it and it's gonna be for me. Like I'm building myself up off of like siphoning your spirit from you. And I think, if you're on your journey into your authenticity, into your bigness, into your magnetism, to make sure you have really good energetic boundaries and to be really cautious and careful of um the frequency that people come to you with. Like, is
Yeah.
it to nourish your spirit? Is it to nourish your bigness? Is it to feed off it? Is it to snuff it out? Is it to own it? um Anyone listening, I think, may resonate with that kind of story of like, yeah, they were attracted to my light and then they actually resented it and
Yeah.
tried to take it away from me. But it's yours, it's sacred. And yeah. So I'm just so grateful for Peter for just like witnessing me and being like, yeah, I think it's also so funny what we were talking about before we got on, like the chronically online girlfriend,
Yeah.
zero social media presence boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you and your sweetie like really?
Well, okay, it's actually so funny because now Henry works in social media. He does like works for a digital media agency for like a lot of big artists, like musical artists and people in the EDM space. And so, which is just so perfect for him. So now he's actually like really into content. Like he doesn't create a ton for his own profile, but sometimes he does. He'll come up with like the funniest little skits and videos and trends. And we really want to be like a famous like TikTok couple, like
Yes.
social media couple, like really bad. The problem is like I'm creating so much content for my own personal brand right now, plus retreats. And then he's posting for like, he has multiple accounts. He's like a social media manager of all these different artists, like finding the time to actually be able to create that. But we want to start like building our list. If anyone finds any cute and funny little couple trends or like challenges, send them to me because we want to start creating content together. And thankfully, he's like, he also has always been, he used to kind of do social media back when he did like fitness stuff. So again, he wasn't super online. I always wanted him to like be a coach and like create content. It just wasn't, he was like, no. Um, what was I going to say? Oh, but he's always been very good at like content in the sense nobody takes better pictures of me than him.
Oh
It
my
does
god,
not matter.
that is such a testament to, I feel like, someone who really sees you and like sees your
Yeah.
beauty. I feel the same with Peter, where like he'll take a casual, like, just a casual picture of me like eating or like having a sip of a drink. And I'm like, wow, like you really see the beauty in
Yes.
me. That is so nice. I think that
Yeah.
that's such a green flag for like his
It's
view of you.
It's such a slay. I've actually never thought of it in that way. I've just always been like, "Oh, I'm so lucky. I know like have a boyfriend that's so good at taking photos and he knows what to do." Like he even is just so cute about telling me like stick your butt out a little bit more, like make sure your tummy's tucked in or chin this way. Like he like literally knows how to like even pose me. So, yeah, shout out to him. That's why all my photos are always so cute. Shout out Henry.
Hi, Henry.
Um but yeah, I never thought of it in that way. That's actually really cute. It's like he's
Yeah, because it's like, sure, maybe he can take pictures of anybody, but I think that there is just something really sweet about being able to like see you, like really see you
yeah.
and capture you. And that's so nice.
It's so cute. Okay, I want to segue for like the last couple minutes onto like something that we really wanted to talk about, which is so funny because I didn't know that you and Peter met on Tinder, which fits like so perfectly into this conversation. So obviously, me and Captolia both are super into personal branding, and I've just been having this thought of like personal branding is not just for businesses; it is for everybody. Like, especially in this day and age of social media, it's not going anywhere. I genuinely feel like if you're not making some type of personal brand for yourself, you are missing out on a skill and a platform that can help you do anything. It's not just for like coaching or digital marketing. Having a personal brand and building that up gets you to the point where not only can you create anything and have people show up, but you also people are seeing you and being able to reach out to you, connect with you, give you opportunities. Like it's so much more than just for businesses, cuz at the end of the day, like branding, it's just being able to cohesively and authentically portray who you are and your visions and your mission and whatever. So, anyway, we wanted to talk about what would branding look like for dating apps and like your Hinge profile, your Tinder profile. Like, how can you use, the um, philosophies and lessons from like really good personal branding to help you find somebody like on Hinge, on Tinder. And Captolia told me something really funny before this, so I'll kind of let you take it away and talk about what you used to have and then what you changed it to and the type of people you would attract.
Yeah. Okay. So I love this conversation so much. And it is so true. Like the way, your personal brand being so much more than just like for business or whatever. I feel like when I got into personal branding, I didn't even like know that's what it was. I was just like, oh, I'm helping my siblings, like, you know, craft their resumes to really showcase their skills authentically, or yeah, auditing my friends' Tinders and stuff like that. And I've noticed for myself the difference in dating based on the identity that I like showcase or who I showcase myself as. And when I was younger, I was just like, oh, I'm like party girl. So my Tinder was like for loco and chill question mark, like literally for loco and chill. And I was just totally unhinged, honestly, completely unhinged, like kind of metal girl, party girl. And yeah, of course I was attracting like weird, like I was attracting weirdos. Like at the end of the day, I wasn't attracting soulmates. I was attracting people who wanted to like party or people that were like, oh, you look hot, you look fun. That was like something I got a lot. I was like, you look fun. Like, yeah, I'm down. That's me. You look like, whatever. And
Yeah.
I think I was just like trying to be cool. Again, like I was just like, I'm chill. I'm not like looking for anything serious, even though I actually was. And when I spent those 3 years single and then I started to date again, and I was like, all right, I'm so solid in who I am at this point. Like, I know exactly what I want. Like, I was playing with words like looking for the king of my double wide trailer, just kind of like a Dolly Parton, Dolly Parton vibes. And when I met Peter, it was just like, TBH, I'm like looking for my sweetie. TBH, looking for my sweetie. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scorpio, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like I attracted more people who were genuinely looking for what I was looking for. But when I was not being honest and I was trying to be chill to be chosen, I was obviously not getting exactly what I wanted. So creating my own like digital personal brand through the pictures I showed, and just being radically honest about what I really wanted. I got such better matches, even the ones that didn't work out. I had better conversations with people. I'm, still internet friends with some of them, and it's so cool to see, like
Yeah.
life on Instagram, like watching your old Tinder matches like go on and get married and stuff. It's just so funny. But
100%.
quality of dating drastically improved when I started to showcase myself really authentically, really honestly, and not trying to be something that I thought other people would want. I was okay with the fact that people might think I was too intense, or if you're not looking for your queen. You're not looking for the lommel, as Peter would call it, the love of your life, then maybe I'm not the person for you, and that is totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, I even love posts like that when coaches make those types of posts. It's like if you believe in this or you're looking for this or you're trying to create this type of business, just unfollow me now because it's not what I'm here for. And it's such a slay because in a world that's like all about the number of followers, it's just a slay to be like, no, don't sign up for my program, because that's not what I'm here for. And I would love to see that on like people's, I'm not obviously on Hinge or Tinder or anything, so I don't really know what's going on there. But if I had to guess, I bet a lot of people aren't really saying like, "Hey, like if you are this type of person, do not match me. If you are looking for this, do not match me, do not message me, do not speak to me. Like that's not what I'm here for." I feel like that would be such a
Yeah.
slave because I can imagine like I feel like a lot of girls probably are just trying to pick like the cutest pictures of themselves and say something that's very likable and say something that's like kind of funny and relatable, but it's probably regurgitated from somebody else that they saw and it's like very pristine. Post some like silly photos of yourself, but like don't just post the hottest photos, post what you actually look like and what you actually are interested in. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that was another piece too. I was being really honest. I was like, I think I had said, TBH, I'm indoorsy. Like, was living in Burlington, Vermont for a while, and Burlington is very like snowboarder, very hiker. And when I was dating there, like going out and meeting people, they were kind of like, I would have men be very triggered by me. They would be like, I don't really get the fake lashes and fake nails. I don't like it. It's fake. And, didn't really
Yeah.
like that. I was like, yeah, my hobbies are like my business, going out with my friends, like watching Love Island, like watching trashy love romance TV, and like going to shows. Like that's my life. I'm not interested in, running a marathon or climbing to the top of a fucking mountain. That's just not me. So I feel like I had this experience of like, do I like get rid of the lashes? Do I kind of tone it down and become more of like a natural girl for them? And I just held it and I was just like, no, like that's just so not me. And it was
Yeah.
again like really cool to meet Peter, where I was like, TBH, I'm indoorsy. And he's like, yeah, our favorite thing to do is like watch 10 seasons of Love Island in like a month.
Yeah.
And he loves it. He's like, I love the glamour. Like it's so cool. It's so fun how you express yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and
I'm just
imagine trying to like pretend that you're this person and it might work for a little bit and maybe it's like a part of who you are, but you're not showing everything. And then it gets really serious and you get farther and farther and farther into the relationship. You guys move in together and now it's like you are going to feel miserable because you're going to feel stuck in this like one version of you and you have to always be that version of you. Like what if it was the other way around and it's like you never felt comfortable taking your lashes off? You always had to have your nails done and be pristine and everything because you feel like that's why this person loves you is because you're like upkeeping that the whole time you were dating. And then now you're like stuck in it essentially. Like it's so important to show every single part of you from the
Yes.
get-go cuz oh my god, can you imagine if you were like, I like outdoor stuff and whatever, just because you thought more people would like you, and then you meet someone and now you're going on hikes for the rest of your life and you're like afraid. It's like you get in too deep. Like you can't say you don't like it now. Like that would be
Right.
crazy.
Totally. Yeah. Oh my god. I saw this meme that was like, this is what I meant when I say like I love the outdoors. It's just like laying on a blanket next to a lake with like a beer. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, same. That's what I mean. I'm like, yeah, I want to go to like a bonfire in the woods. That's my outdoorsy for sure. Yeah, I so feel that. And it's funny like looking at, you mentioned not being on the apps right now, and me either, but I've been really having so much fun with my single friends presences. Like one of my guy friends was kind of showing me his Tinder, and like he's like, I'm not really getting any matches, like I'm not getting dates with people. And I kind of looked through his profile, and I was like, okay, well, one thing I'm sensing is like every single picture is you smiling with like a big ass grin. It's kind of giving AI. Like it's not really like you fully, like, yeah, you like to like smile, but I was like, it's kind of giving LinkedIn like AI vibes. What if we like I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a picture of you. You know, we were out for sushi and like took a picture of him, put a little cute moody filter on it while he was just like looking down with his drink. I found some other pictures and he was like, what the fuck, dude? You know, you totally changed my presence. I'm actually getting matches now. And same with one of my other friends. I was like, okay, you're kind of adding odd stuff. Like, let's look at things with like, you know, the female gaze. It's just like, you know,
Yeah.
when you're creating content like for your ideal clients, it's like, yeah, think about how the other person might be receiving or perceiving you. So it is just all branding though. I'm like, yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
like, I'm like, what kind of girl do you want to be attracting? So that was one thing I'm asking. I'm like, do you want like witchy hotties? Do you want like, you know, what's the vibe of the person? So we kind of shifted it too to mention like, let's like looking for a thrifting partner, you know, looking for someone to like go vintage shopping with. I'm an Aquarius, like putting, you know, his astro
Yeah.
symbols in there. I was like, yeah, so now astro babes are gonna zero in on you, like putting your big three in your profile, and you're gonna get more responses. And he was just like, oh, you're so smart. And yeah, you know, attracted a more aligned type of date
Yeah.
from these little like signifiers of like, it's you I'm trying to call in
Yeah.
specifically.
I'm actually obsessed with this. I feel like it should be some type of offer that you offer or something, or I don't know if like I don't know. It could be something like
I
where
literally used to. I found like an old Facebook memory of mine where I was like, I'll audit your Instagram. I mean, I'll audit your Tinder for 20 bucks. And
yeah.
I actually had people like sending me their fucking bios. It's so funny.
Yeah, like I don't know. I'm so obsessed with that because it's like it's just branding. It's
It's just,
literally just branding.
I also think you can really see the archetypes show up in like online dating branding. Like again, like the outdoorsy type of person that's just very explorer archetype, and an explorer type of person who that's their values is like travel, is likely going to want to also be with someone who's in that essence. So I think, you know, really showcasing that piece of yourself will attract that person whose values aligned. Or, you know, for the fucking hustler babes, like very ruler, I think you can see really clearly like the identity
Yeah.
of the person, and I think people should think more archetypally about it. Like um I feel like the archetypes are honestly key to creating like a psychological imprint and really communicating who you are, even just through the pictures. Like, how can you utilize your photos to immediately communicate an energy that is authentic to you before they even read the bio?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Well, I always think of like building a brand is like inviting people into an experience, right? And so I like that you use the word energy. Like, how can you show an energy? How can you make people feel? It's not just like telling people information, like, this is who I am. It's
Totally.
actually inviting them into, like, this is the experience of me. Even like, um, it's also cute how they do like the voice memos and stuff too. Like,
Oh
do a
my
little voice memo, do a little something where it's almost like they can feel what it's like to actually be with you. Um, they have little prompts. Like, there's probably one that's like, if we meet up, you can expect blank. It's like tell people like this is what you can expect if you're actually gonna be with me, and just invite people more into the experience rather than this like 2D like here's my interests. It's like, no, here's the actual experience. Like, here's what's happening in my world.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
that so much. Absolutely. And you're making me think about like Peter's Tinder bio back in the day. Like he was already
Yeah,
kind
what
of
was
giving me an
his?
energy. He had like, you know, the Ace of Base song, like I Saw the Signs as his song. Like I saw the sign. And And I was like, okay, this is silly. And I think it said something like looking for a good cult documentary recommendation, something like that. Our first conversations ever were like, okay, like if we started a cult, like what would the outfits be? we're like, yeah, like what would be your cult fit, that your cult would have to wear. And it was just like, he's so funny. He's such a jester archetype. And I feel like it really came through immediately because I was like already kind of getting a laugh just from his
Yeah.
presence. Like some of his pictures were funny. He really showcased his like authentic humor just perfectly. And I
Yeah.
so appreciated it.
Yeah, and you guys, if you don't know what like really makes you you and makes you stand out, don't be afraid to ask your people because the reason I'm
Mhm.
thinking of this is like maybe Peter does know he's funny, but a lot of people wouldn't like say like, "Oh, I'm so funny. Let me make my profile really funny." And you might be like I have one friend slash client where she's like, I'm like really funny and spunky in person with all my friends, and it just doesn't come across in my Instagram. And I have known her on the internet for years, and I met her in person. It's like two completely different people. And
Wow. Yeah.
so some people might like know they're funny and be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna let that shine. But some people might not really like know or claim themselves at that as that, but like ask your friends. Your friends will tell you, "No, you're so funny or you're so spunky or you're always saying like really wise things or you're always relating things to this or this." If you don't know, just ask people, like they'll tell you and then you can use that. And the ones that do feel authentic to you, obviously if someone tells you you're something, don't just like take that on and be like, "Okay, I'm this thing." But if 10 of your closest friends are like, "I see this in you. I see this in you." Like,
Yeah.
listen to that and amplify it and put it on, your profile. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. I think that's so special. And it really relates also to branding. When people are like, I don't know who I am, I don't know how I want to present myself. It's like part of it. It's not just like putting on a costume of here's who you should be. Like, let's just get listening. Like, let's start listening
Yeah.
to people. Like, let's start listening to how people are already receiving you, perceiving you, and like how you are, yeah, how you're being seen in the world already. And does that fit? Yeah. Does it fit or does it not? What people are saying. If
Yeah.
it doesn't fit, then maybe there's some work to do of like, okay, how can I be more myself? How can I figure out what is more me if how I'm being perceived, how people are telling me who I am isn't fitting? Yeah, that's a clue. You might need to switch things up, but listening is so important. And
Yeah.
yeah, I so
It's like a
agree.
balance between who like, how people see you, like your close people, not just like anyone on the internet, but how your close people see you and a mix of like how you want to be seen as well from like a general like from an authentic place, not like, oh, I wish I was like this. It's like, no, I want people to see me as this type of person from an empowered state, right? So
Totally.
I love that. The dating profile thing is so fun. Sometimes like I don't want to date other people, but I like this conversation makes me want to have like a Hinge profile and like design my
Yeah.
own, but that's just my
I
Instagram, I
I
guess.
miss just like swiping. Like it was like it was so fun to just be like, nah,
Well,
nah.
there's like Bumble BFF and stuff like to meet people in the area.
Right?
I think I did that when I was in LA and I did meet a lot of girls, but kind of the vibe is like everyone just puts their Instagram on there. And so then you
Right.
like swipe through and just like add girls on Instagram. I would do that in Vegas, honestly, because I have a couple girlfriends here, but I don't have a ton. But I don't know if people like use that here. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, it's been so fun to like swipe for my friends and just like even to have them be like, it's okay. Like, I'm open to what you think. I'm open to, you swiping yes on people that I might typically not.
yeah.
If you think and you see a potential of alignment that I'm not seeing. So that's been really cool too, of like, why not this person? I think questioning your own initial reactions to people and being open to a yes that you might not typically is also really
100%.
interesting.
Oh my god, I feel like I talk about this all the time, or maybe I don't, I just talk about it in my head, but, like, if girls just stopped always choosing their type, I guarantee they would meet the love of their life every single time. It's like they keep dating the same person over and over
Yes.
because 'cause they're dating only who's, like you watch Love Island, like, their type on paper, and
Mhm.
it drives me freaking nuts because, I don't know, for me, I'm very, like, emotionally attracted to people and like attracted to people's personality, and like I don't know, my attraction is a bit different. And yeah, I've tried dating like attractive guys in the past, or at times like felt like I needed to or was supposed to. And I don't know, I just there's so many people that I would date and that I have dated that I would never swipe yes
Right.
for. Yeah.
Totally.
So,
Yeah. 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 I
give people a
so
chance, actually read their page, look at their values, look at what they're into. Don't just
have
see
a
their
conversation.
some people swipe so fast. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, have a conversation. I think you're so on point too of like keeping like when you keep dating your type, and that really was different for me and Peter. Like I typically was going for like a person in like the metal scene, or they're punk. They're like punk. They're like edgy. They're like this very particular type of person. And when I showed my friends Peter, they were like, "Whoa, this is not someone I would." My friend was just like, "I would have never fucking guessed this person for you, but it also makes so much sense. Like, he's
Yeah.
such a fit for you, but not who you would have ever shown me like a year ago." And I remember like looking at his page and just being like, like I don't really know. Like, is he? Are we gonna fit? And at the end of the day, he was just such a sweetheart. I was just like, why was I looking for this like fucking like mangy dog energy in a man, like a mangy old mutt that I could save and take care of? And Peter is more just like he, gets a fucking haircut. Like his beauty is important to him. His style is
Yeah.
important to him. He's like a clean person. So it's very different. He's much lighter. He's definitely like golden retriever vibes, which would never have attracted me before. Like I would
Yeah.
never go for a golden retriever type, but I feel like he's like golden retriever with like the Scorpio eyes. So it works. But I did have to be open to like someone different than I usually might. And like I had to be really conscious of like, we were instantly magnetized, but it wasn't what I was used to in the past, which was like immediately like consumed. Like
Yeah.
you're the love of my life. We're born for each other. You're my fucking twin flame. Like this, like kind of love bombing energy. I loved being love bombed in the
Yeah.
past. I
Yeah.
loved the immediate like soulmate energy. And we did have that, but it was gentler and safer. And it
Mhm.
honestly gave my body, my soul, my spirit time to even like calibrate to this because of all my relational trauma and like kind of what I carried in. Being comfortable was actually really uncomfortable. There
Yeah.
were so many times in the beginning of the relationship, or not even just the beginning, like through the first couple of years, where I was like, I don't know, what if I just like broke up with him and started a fucking new life and moved to Miami? Like my avoidant pattern of like I could just start a whole new life, go do a whole new different thing. Am I bored? And I'm like, no, I'm not bored. I'm just safe. I'm actually just like
Yeah.
comfortable with this person, and it's uncomfortable for me.
Totally. I feel like that's such a common experience actually for like every person that I know that's in this type of experience. It's like they're dating someone completely new, completely or not completely new, but completely different than what they've dated before. And it's like a long-term, serious, successful relationship. I think everyone that I've talked to has had like a moment like that of wanting to self-sabotage
Yeah.
because you're just like, yeah, it's almost like a feeling of boredom. You're like, "This isn't right." Like, this is or even feeling like, "Oh, if there's not these, like, crazy highs and lows, that it's not
Yes.
actually love." Like,
Yes.
I'm not actually deeply in love with them because I don't have these, like, crazy waves of, um,
Yes.
passion, like, all the time. Like, it can just be chill.
It can
And
just be chill. I had to like remember and like remind myself constantly that like what I was feeling with other people like was not love. It was actually just like extreme anxiety and like fight or flight. Like I was like, oh, this person was sending me into fucking fight or flight
yeah.
constantly. It wasn't because I was madly deeply in love. They were actually just like triggering my nervous system constantly. And
Yeah.
it was, and it's like a crazy, intoxicating or addictive feeling to have those rushes and then those lows. And I'm like, oh, stability, like, oh, this is just so nice. But it did take me a while to get used to it and to not just like totally fuck it up and,
Yeah.
yeah, self sabotage and to just get comfortable being comfortable. Same kind of thing happens with money, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We have like that upper limit and we hit it and we just freak the fuck out. But yeah, that's why I honestly, at the very beginning of my coaching journey, I was very like, and I've sort of like apologized for not apologized, but like taken it back a little bit and been like, actually, I'm going to like retract that. Because I was very like dump him energy. Like anyone would say, like
Mhm.
have an issue or something wasn't feeling right. And I'm like, then there's something better for you. Dump him. Or, oh,
Right.
he treated me in this way. Dump him. Oh, this happened. Dump him. And like, obviously, there were some scenarios where like that was the right advice, like, where it's, abusive or they're really not aligned or they've been feeling about it for a long time. It's like, yeah, dump them. But I think I was a little bit loose with that. And now I'm very much like, no, wait, really like chill for a sec. Is that really what you want to do? Because relationships are so much more complex than just if something goes wrong, the answer is not just dump them. Like there's
Right.
just so much. And if everything's going right, the answer is not just dump them. So anyway, I
Totally.
used to be very like I used to post this photo of like a cake and it's like, congratulations, you broke up. And it's like, oh, it was maybe the wrong message for some people. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I think like yeah, breakups can be really like sacred and it can be authentic and necessary at times when you've just outgrown it. But yeah, I agree. Like I think there's so much messaging around just like just end it, just dump the person, and it doesn't
oh, yeah.
make space for like relationship. Like relationship is
Yes.
messy. Humans are messy.
Sometimes I'm like a part of, I don't even know what like Facebook groups or like Reddit or whatever. I'll just like come across like a thread of like a bunch of comments of people replying to someone's scenario and they're like asking for advice. And every single person's piece of advice is like, yeah, like that, like just so um I don't know. Yeah, just dump him. I don't know what I was gonna say. It's just very I read some comments and I'm like, no, this is not the right advice. And there's like 100 people saying it. I'm like, no, but
Oh my
people have
god,
to
you're
go in
making me
there.
think about are you in any of those groups that like are we dating the same guy?
No, but I've seen them. Like I've just seen like screenshots and things.
It's so wild because I'm in it just to like watch and observe, and it is wild though. Sometimes I'll see like women in these groups being like, I caught him texting another person. I found like a fucking hair tie in his car. All these things are happening, and like I'm just looking for like that one. I just need the proof, and I'm like, babe, like you have the proof. I think there's also that other side of it too where people will like look for any excuse not to end a thing that is obviously misaligned and wrong. And it's these groups are so wild because I feel like in some ways I'm like, oof, I don't know, I wouldn't want to get posted on there. But also very empowering, I think, to be able to
Yeah.
see like, yeah, what's going on with this person? How can you keep yourself and each other safe? Um, yeah, I don't know where that was coming from, but
Yeah. No, I love it. I The internet's crazy. I honestly love it so much when like I see things like that, like the internet connecting two random people and they're dating the same person or whatever. It's just fucking
like
hilarious.
one of my
So
local cops was like on the group. He's like some old ass guy, like literal old man, and got posted in the group, and all these girls were like, "I'm dating him," and then they're like, "Not like wait." Like connecting the dots, and he like had like multiple fucking girlfriends, and one of my sister's friends also got posted on there, and he was like living a crazy double triple quadruple life where all of these girls were like,
oh my god.
oh, I'm dating him too, but he told me he was traveling on business like to France, and my sister was like, he's not like, This is my roommate. He's literally not. So
Oh my god.
it's really wild to see like the just like the worst, but also the best. It's so cute when you see a guy get posted and it's like all the girls in the comments are like, he's the fucking biggest sweetheart. Like he is so
Yeah.
good. I have nothing but good things to
Okay, I
say.
need to join some of these groups now. I'm
They're good for
interested.
just
I'm
creeping.
intrigued. Yeah. Yeah, no, I just wanna watch. I'm always like yeah, I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups actually. Like, I'm still on all over Facebook
I
because
love
I
them.
just love, I don't know, watching
I'm like
all
not me in
that.
the drama of my local police chief and like his three girlfriends and wife.
That is actually insane because also if you're like, "Oh, I'm going to France," like, even God forbid, like, Henry was doing something, when? When?
Wet.
Because
Yeah,
I literally am with him all the time. Obviously, now we have, like, space, we have our own offices and stuff, like, we're still home, and if he goes on a trip, he's, like, sending me pictures, like, on the trip. Were you not like, "Send me a picture of the Eiffel Tower." Like, "Send
literally,
me a
literally.
picture of, you in a baguette." Like,
Send Eiffel Tower pic immediately.
literally, like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. That's when you were kinda like, they probably didn't want to, like, believe it because the signs were probably there and they just weren't even seeing it. So,
Oh my god, yeah, yeah, it's
anywho.
wild. Like again, like some of them just like the weirdest old guy with like dozens of people being like, he's a player. He like tried to go for my sister or whatever. And I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. And again, just makes me so grateful that I kind of grew up and grew out of like the antics of dating people that are like chaotic and untrustworthy and
Yeah.
triggered my nervous system and that I would have to post in a group like that. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah. You would post Peter, there'd be, like, 0 comments. You'd be like, "Okay.
right. Peter
Yeah."
has this thing he always says where he's like, yeah, I don't know, every girl I've ever dated still just loves me. I was that good. And I was just like, oh, shut
That is so funny. That no, that is a flex. That I love that he flexes with that.
up.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I fucking love this conversation, especially because I feel like it's not one that I've really, really heard in the way that we've spoken about it. So I'm so grateful that we had this conversation. It's so fucking fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, can you tell everyone where they can find you? Do you have anything going on right now? How can they work with you? Let them
Sure.
know.
Yeah. So y'all can follow me on Instagram. That's kind of my main place where I hang out. It's at Captolia.online. And upcoming, my nearest thing is my Witch and Famous brand visibility and marketing school that's going to open up again in January. I'm so excited about it. This is literally like marketing school. Like I'm taking my grad degree in marketing and distilling it into just the most important pieces for building a brand identity, like a visibility strategy, how to really just like show up in your authentic magnetism, get visible as fuck, and attract clients by becoming radically, authentically yourself. Yeah.
I love it. And I've taken it. I've been in Witch and Famous. It's so iconic and fun.
It's
So I
so
can vouch.
fun. So
Yeah.
activating. It's such an activation. Like people have literally gone to Witch and Famous, like jumped in, aligned with their archetype, and like blew the fuck up. Like 500, 600,000 followers, like, or many, many smaller than that. And again, like we mentioned earlier, the fame is not about the follower count. I really am all about fame as a frequency. So that is the piece of it. Like really cultivating your unique star energy and owning that, monetizing that, and just like really believing in your bigness. It's like marketing on the outside, soul activation, icon activation on the inside. And yeah, come check me out. Come say hi if you found me from the podcast. Send me a DM. Let me know. I'd love to chat.
Yes.
Yay,
Amazing. I
thank
love it. I love
you.
it. Yeah, and I'll leave that link in the show notes too for easy access. So you guys can go just click and follow. And what do I have going on? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm opening up my mastermind. Quantum Leap Queen shit. It is happening. It's still in the works, but I'll probably release this by the time it's launched. Um, I don't know when I'm going to release this. I have no rules. I just post podcasts whenever. So it might be open, it might be not, but it's coming. And I'm so excited about it. So I'll give you guys more information on the mastermind soon. But that is my only thing I have going on right now.
Yay.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. Sending you guys so much love. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.